how you doing today? How are you doing today? I am your host, Lacey G. Souldier Turner, and today I got a very special guest with me. She is an actress, she's a filmmaker, a writer, she's a director. She has appeared on networks such as NBC, Hulu, Prime, Netflix. She has done theater. She has been selected for multiple film festivals, won plenty of awards also at those film festivals. She's just been doing her thing. So, without further ado, I want to welcome to the platform the wonderful, amazing, talented Ashley Versher. Welcome to the platform, Ashley.
Can I just like get that every morning? I'm like, I need to record that. Wake up.
I'm your personal motivator.
For real.
But before we get into what I want to talk about, I want to let the people get to know you a little bit. So can you let the people know, where were you born and raised, and how was your upbringing as a child?
Oh my. I was born in the Bay. I was born in San Francisco Children's Hospital. It no longer exists. And I grew up in the Bay. I'm a Bay Area kid through and through. I grew up with my parents and my brother. We were a very artsy household. My dad was a visual artist and a singer and played the piano and music. Like I don't know, he's just like can take something and do it. Like if you just be like, can you make this sculpture? He could just be like, I got it. And he'll do it. It's crazy. Yeah, literally, I'm like, I don't have that skill. That's not the one that I got. But you know, we grew up playing instruments. So I grew up playing the violin. I played the violin for consistently for probably 16 years or something like that, a long time. And sports was pretty big for us too. Yeah, that's kind of like, you know, in church, you know, Black people, we love our church. And that's where you always, I feel like that's where a lot of us started, like the singing in the choir, the Christmas show, you know, and were you a lamb or were you Mary or an angel? I don't even remember. But I was something. Yeah, I that's kind of like church, and I went to a Black private school when I was younger, and that was a big deal for like sort of that foundation of like art in general for me, and I think for my brother probably.
Okay, so researching you know, was phenomenal, fantastic to me, because I went to school. You know, I write and direct films also, but I went to school for it. So I saw that you are self-taught filmmaker. So can you tell the people what got you into making film? What made you want to do that?
Yeah, you know, it was just sort of like I was in New York at the time. I was living in New York at the time. Or was in there in New York at the time when like the indie like web series thing was like exploding, and a lot of Black creatives were making web series, making short films, and just a lot of web series. And I was in sort of a little bit on the loop of that as an actor. And then if you know anyone knows about independent filmmaking, you're always doing something else. So I think I kind of ended up getting like looped in of like, you know, just helping out a little bit here with like sort of producing roles and helping out here as like an AD and things like that. And eventually realizing how much I just really enjoyed being on set. Also not as an actor, but as a creative in these other capacities. So from there, I realized that I really needed to start saying out loud what it is that I wanted to do, because nobody would guess. Because everybody knew, people would knew like, oh yeah, you're an actor, but no one would be like, do you want to produce? Do you want to direct? So I just started like to share that with people, and I started to. I was at ABFF years ago, and I ran into some people that I knew, and I was like, hey, I know that they shared they're making a short film, and I said, hey, I'm down to do whatever. Like I will run coffee, I will do anything that's needed. I'm happy to help, and I'd love to be a part of this project. And that was a big way of like sort of just moving the needle on that. I ended up being like an associate producer on that film, and that film went to Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival, which was really cool. It was super poignant, especially at the particular time that year. And then I was having like lunch with some friends, and they are creators. And they were talking about their next project, and I was like, oh, I'd love to direct. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay, great. And so, like, seriously, like they're Caleb and Ronisha Simpson, they're amazing people, they are amazing creators, and responsible for all the tough loves that exist in the world. And they were, and the next day I was like, I don't know if they were taking me seriously because it was just so quick.
Yeah.
And so I called and I was like, hey, I know you guys said like, yeah, but like I was serious. Like, are you guys serious? And they were like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. This is happening. And I was like, okay, great. And that was sort of like my start into directing, and I just really enjoyed it. I think that was sort of the big thing is like, there's so many components of filmmaking, and if you can find the other avenues that you really just enjoy, that like are the things where you're like loading out at 3 a.m., but you're like, I would do this again. I'd
Yes.
come back in 3 hours if I had to. I
Yes.
just loved it, and I felt so good in that space, and that
Mhm.
was kind of my kickoff.
Yeah. Hey, look, I know what you said. When I was in film class, people they didn't know, they just thought you just pick up a camera and that's it. They was like, oh, this is actually work. So it was a lot of people that dropped out. But I loved it. Just 13-hour days. It's just like I'm passionate about it. So I definitely
Exactly. Like I remember when the short film I worked on, we were shooting we were shooting in this office space, in this massive like corporate building in New York, and I just remember I did not sleep for those 2 days. Because you also don't live close, right? Maybe you
right.
don't live close to where you're shooting, so you're
Yeah.
like on the subway trying to get home. Somebody's like, please don't take the train, like please get in a cab.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then you come back like 4 hours later,
Yep.
and you're like, okay, great, let's like do it again. And you're amped,
Yeah.
you're drinking coffee and trying to stay alive. But also like I just loved every component
Yes.
of that experience.
Definitely. So tell me, the people about your short film Brief Exchanges, and where you wrote, directed, and played the lead role. You won, some film festival awards. So can you tell the people about that whole process?
Yeah, okay. It's a film about the day in the life of a young Black woman navigating the intersectionalities of being Black, a woman living in New York City, like coupled in with a little bit of a romance, which is really nice. So it kind of gives it some really nice levity. And I started writing some iteration of that film years ago, and then during 2020, during the pandemic, after the murder of George Floyd, and the Black Lives Matter movement really had this huge sort of like uprising, and invigoration, if that's a word, I don't know. um, but I felt really inspired, and I think a lot of us took to protests on social media because that was the space that we could do it, depending on your circumstances. Like I was living with I was staying with older people in my family, so their safety and their health. So I wasn't like I could really go out very much, and participate. So I tried to participate, like a lot of us, online, and that sort of spearheaded me into just really this. Starting to witness a lot of sharing information of microaggressions and what those are like, and how we as Black people and Black women and people of color experience them. And I was really inspired to like curate this sort of film that really could showcase this, because it's an everyday experience that we have like all the time, every day. And in particular, living in New York, it's a pedestrian city. So, you have so many different just exchanges with people every day. And I wouldn't go so far as to say that they're all microaggressions, but many of them are. And then some of them are just like components of being a New Yorker. And the film in one way is sort of a love letter to New York. And yeah, so I wrote it, and then I got some really great support from people who are close to me. My husband was like, "You should make it," and I was like, "Okay." And I think he thought it was going to be kind of like this little thing where I was like, "Let me call my friends and let's like shoot it on our iPhone," and there's nothing wrong with that. But me being who I am, I was like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
So it was really cool. It was such a fun experience. We just went and like guerrilla style shot this thing in 3 days in New York.
Mm, that's crazy. It just
It
show
was
people. Show people. Look, you can do anything you put your mind to. Like you said, you shot it in a couple of days, and it won awards. So
Yeah, it was wild. We just like really went for it, and I just called, like I like to say, I called in the troops. So like my people, my close friends, my friends who are artists, who in different shapes and forms, and everybody just like rallied and was like, and it was like Omicron, I think, when we shot it. So it was crazy. It was like, you were trying to like make this thing where COVID doesn't exist in this film, but you're like, there's some lady in the background who's
yeah.
mask on. Please, step to the side, ma'am, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild, but it's really fun.
Yeah, and that's one thing I found interesting too, because I still do it. This year, like I graduated 2015, but a lot of the same filmmakers, they work with their people that they grew up with, or was doing film with, and they continue to make like films using their same people and all that type of stuff. So
Oh yeah,
yes.
100%. I think even when I think about casting, I go, do I know people who I know? Do I know someone who could do this part?
Hmm.
And if I do, and I'm like, okay, great, let's start there
Yes.
for sure, because it's all hard, right? And
Yes.
so it's like you can make it as easy as you can for yourself by like really curating the team and really curating the cast,
Mhm.
not sacrificing the work or the art, but like I happen to be blessed, and I know wonderfully talented people.
Like, so one thing that I loved about you, I saw that you were passionate about supporting, young filmmakers of color. I saw that you work closely with Made in Her Image, a nonprofit organization and dedicated to advancing women and girls and non-binary youth of color in film and media. Can you tell the people about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the organization in a nutshell, what you said there. So that's awesome. It's also full of love and joy and creativity. And the people who are the ambassadors that are part of this organization are amazing individuals who are just doing and creating just things that we're watching on TV, things that we're seeing in the movie theaters. So the purpose really is to offer a lot of guidance and a lot of education and a lot of support as these individuals grow up and realize and discover their interest in the film and media space. As you know, as we all know, it's an incredibly challenging industry just to sort of tap into.
Yeah.
I think part of our goal is to create these pipeline programs that can not only educate and create opportunity for learning on the job, but also long-term opportunity for getting that job, getting that first job in the industry, and creating a chance for these individuals to start to build out their careers, to build their resume. We did a really cool program called Through Her Lens last year that was allowing these students to come, these youth to come and create short films. So it was kind of like a sort of like a team that they put together. So it was a writer, producer, director, and then they created these like short films that were mostly silent. Um, and then we did a showcase at Universal a lot. It was fantastic. It was a dream come true for everyone, and it was so inspiring for me just to watch their creative minds and what they were creating and the stories they were interested in telling. So we're just really trying to create a foundation, not only a foundation of support, but this pipeline structure that can really curate opportunity that isn't static.
Mm. So let me ask you, I want to double down on it. With the things you're doing and trying to further your career, what made you so passionate about wanting to help young filmmakers of color?
I think in the beginning baseline, I think that we oftentimes don't think about our ability or capacity time wise to volunteer in general. So I actually came to Made in Her Image originally as a volunteer because I felt like, actually I have the time and space to volunteer in an arena that I care deeply about, in an industry that that I'm in. And coupled with just understanding and knowing, and from my own personal experience, that seeing someone do the job that I want to do who looks like me is just deeply invaluable. And so I think that's the other side of that coin for me, is really like, even as I grow as an actor and as a filmmaker, that's the seat that that's some space that I get to take up and hopefully reflect to individuals younger than me that they also can do the same. So that's a huge part of my passion for this organization and for the work that we do.
Okay, so let me talk about the series you playing in right now. The iconic hit series on Netflix, Beauty in Black. Look, I've been trying to finish this last. I keep going to sleep on it at night, but
Going to
you
sleep.
look. Hmm?
Going to sleep.
I be working all through the night, so I turn it on at 1 in the morning, and I be like trying to, what I'm saying, because I be binge watching things, but I love it. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
So I ain't going to sleep on it like, oh, this is boring. What I'm saying? I love it. I be trying to get through. I'm like, no, stay up.
Yeah.
But Beauty in Black, you play Lena, a passionate lawyer who is going after the Beauty in Black empire. So can you tell the people, how did you get this role? How is it working with all the actors, Tyler Perry, everybody?
Yeah. It was it was you just never know what it's gonna be. You never know the role that's gonna pop. You never know the job that you're gonna get. And this opportunity sort of came up and was presented to me by my reps, and we sort of just ran with it and gave it what I had, and God bless. I booked that job, and that was awesome. It was an incredible experience. I had it is I have an incredible fond memory of working on that show. It is a time period that I will never forget. The crew, the cast are amazing. It feels like, I think, even when people see pictures of us, like, I think some of us went to this event recently, and we were all kind of wearing white, and it wasn't planned, but we were just wearing white. It just feels like a family. It was just like a deeply supportive family that's really interested in, like, the work that we're doing and having a really great time doing it. It was lovely. Working with Tyler Perry was a gift to my career and to me as an artist and as a filmmaker, to be able to witness him in that director's chair. It was great.
Mm. I said, look, you one of the few people, it seemed like you be antagonizing, Mallory and her husband. They try to get you to work for the company. You like, no, I'm for these clients. I'm for this. So, uh, is that character any way like similar to you, or did you have to step out of yourself and be like, okay,
No, I'm not like that. So it makes it so fun. Because that's not who I am. I do think I have, like, a connection to the idea of justice, like, or not the idea, the deep need for justice in general. I have that connection to the character, which is helpful in serving the story. But I'm quite a different person than she is.
okay. So let's talk about another film I just watched, the highly Netflix series, highly anticipated Netflix movie Straw. You played the supporting role of Tessa, a bank teller who finds herself in the middle of the tense plot alongside Taraji P. Henson. How did you get that, and how was it working with Taraji P?
Um, Not too dissimilar from Beauty and Black, but also really quick. Like, it came right on the heels of Beauty and Black, so I think I came back, and that kind of happened very quickly. And that was a I guess it's always a surprise, but that was like, whoa, wow, okay. Um, because you just these
Yeah,
are dream circumstances.
yeah.
So I have a lot of gratitude for the way that all of this came to me. um, but it was really great. Taraji's amazing. She is she's just wonderful to watch working. I think even at points, like, watching her work, I was like, oh my God. And then, like, being like, you're making a movie, you need to act, do your job. But she's just wonderful to watch. It's very inspiring to see her work in person, and, like, I just don't even know if I've processed that all the way, because I watched her, in Baby Boy. I watched her in Hustle and Flow. I watched everything.
Yeah.
Um, but, like, and then you're like, oh my God, here she is standing in front of me. We're going to
Yeah.
play together. Um, it was a highlight for sure.
So let me ask you this: so with that film, where it showed Taraji through everything she was going through, can you break down like why was your character like going against it? You know what I'm saying, like so opposite of her.
I'm just saying, she was terrified. I mean, it's not great to be held at gunpoint. Not a great thing. Not great to be in a space that you cannot leave, where there's a bomb. Um, Not great. But and also, like, serving the character and serving the story. I think that serving Tess, playing Tessa the way I played her, and was really to serve the story, and I think adds into the empathy that the audience can feel and experience with Taraji's character Janaya. I think that's really important. It's important to have all those sides, all those reactions, all those differing opinions, to really lift it off, not only like lift it off the page, but to bring it to the audience in a way that it pulls them in, and it pulls, like, a lot of people have said they've watched the film, and they're crying, and they have tissue boxes next to them, and they're shocked. And my character, just as well as the other characters in the bank, our experience of Janaya in that story really allows the audience to go with her and to feel such deep empathy, which I think is a really important part of this story. We're drawing out like empathy for people who feel alone, for
Yeah.
people, individuals who feel lonely, for individuals who don't have family, don't have friends, who don't have support. A single mother, but her story is incredibly relatable, which is awesome. Which is one of the things I think is so amazing about the film in and of itself, is that you don't have to be a single mom to see yourself in her story. You just have to be a person.
I want to ask you one more thing about your character. So, do you think it's like, I guess a lot of characters, like, I guess people in real life who, like, when somebody's trying to tell you the truth, but you like, I'm not listening to you. You got a gun. Like, do you think it's a lot of people like that who like really try to get their point across? Like, hey, I'm telling the truth, but people so stuck in their ways, like whatever.
I don't know. I just think that I think that for, in terms of the story and in terms of the film, it's a difficult situation that is almost like unimaginable. It would be almost unimaginable to be like, wow, I was held up at gunpoint and there was a bomb, and like this is my situation right now in a space that I come to every like 5 times a week, that is generally null and not particularly not fascinating in terms of my day-to-day experiences here. um yeah, I think it's, that's a hard turn from the norm, I think, for those characters.
Okay. And for people who haven't watched Straw yet, why should they watch this film?
Why should they watch this film? I mean, you should watch it because it's the number one film on Netflix, so everyone's watched it, so you probably should be feeling pretty left out if you haven't watched it.
Facts.
um
And watch it because Ashley Versher, you know what I'm saying? That should be the main reason right there. Right.
yeah, but also, I mean, it's a great story. I mean, it's there's a lot of it really touches and rides this wave of mental health, which has become such a huge topic in our world right now, since the pandemic. So I think it's a way to also connect, a way to start to understand maybe how people are feeling, and the deep struggles that people are dealing with.
Okay. So look, let me ask you about this, Miss Ashley. So you played in Jennifer Lopez, This Is Me Now, a love story on Prime, where you played the idealist. How
Yes.
was it working with J Lo, and can you tell the people about your character in that?
Yeah, it was so great. She's just like a force. She's just a all around talent. Just a performer and an artist. It was really spectacular to watch. It was really great. The other actors that I worked with, who also played different characters, who were playing her best friend, many of them are still my friends. All of us, I think, are still quite close. It was a great group, so we had a really great time. I play the idealist, so she has a viewpoint of the world that other people don't agree with. But in some respect hopeful, but in another respect, like there's a little bit of a boundary there, I think.
Okay. And I saw you played in NBC's American Auto, Law and Order SUV, but one of my favorite, you played in Hulu's Reasonable Doubt. You played Tony's girlfriend. Can you
Oh,
tell me about that experience?
yeah, that was wild. That was actually, I think that was probably my first TV job.
Mm,
I think it was great. The cast was great. The reason was that was an incredible show. Like
I love it.
my favorite way to watch it is with my mom, because she's deeply invested, and so watching her experience the show is the best part. But it was great. It was something to do for sure. But the set was so dope because the set was so black. And that was like one of the first times it was the first time I had that experience on a TV set. So it was really cool.
Nice, nice. So you've been doing a lot of things on your journey so far. What would you say has been your greatest challenge?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Gotcha. No,
My greatest challenge has been, oh, I don't know. I don't know what my greatest challenge has been, but I do think something that is challenging is consistency. I
mhm.
think that part of that can be really hard for anyone. Like I said, I don't know if that's my greatest challenge, but I think I what I could say is that I certainly learned and understand the like deep importance of consistency, of really going at it. Really deciding what it is that I want to do, what it is I want to achieve, and then setting myself up to really go after it,
Yeah,
which I think just requires a real level. Consistency is not really the best word. I think discipline is the better
yeah, I
word.
got you.
It's discipline that I think is a really big thing that's incredibly important to lock in and to find how that works for you. If you need like variation, if you need an ebb and flow, to figure out what that is for yourself. That's a big part of my journey and the way that I work as an artist.
Gotcha. So on the flip side of that, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment?
Mm. It's probably when like the young people in my life started to go, "Oh, I want to be an actor." Or I want to be a filmmaker. Like I think that's so dope. Like, obviously like that could totally change for them, but to start to realize that my journey and my achievements are they're taking that in and starting to process it in terms of like, oh, actually, I guess if I want to do this, then I think I could actually be an actor, and not, they're kids, so they're not thinking about it like
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
big way that as an adult you might, but I am so pleased when I feel or find that a young person in my life feels a little inspired, and whether or not that's the journey or the path they go down, that doesn't really matter to me. It's more about this idea of like for them the idea of access and possibility.
I got you. So let me ask you this. You got a lot of experience right now. What advice would you give to, I guess, a young, or not even just a young person, anybody who's trying to get into the film industry, period?
Yeah, it's going to be a little off, not normal, I guess maybe. It's My advice really is to figure out the life that you want to live, because I think life is short, but life is very long, and I think that it's very easy to be really static and not engage in life, because you're so focused on the career and the things that you deeply and passionately want to achieve. And there's nothing wrong with having that focus. I think that focus is necessary, but I think every day is a day in your life, and everyone deserves joy and happiness. And so I think if you can really figure out what that looks like for you, um, and maybe sometimes that is detaching and creating like a boundary around your career and how you function in that space, and how you tap into achieving the things you want to achieve. But I think we should be living our life out loud, with lots of joy and laughter, if you have that privilege. um, that's my advice.
Okay. So, Miss Ash, do you have anything else coming up that you want to promote?
um, well, I'm creating a short film. We're shooting in like 2 weeks. It's wild.
For real?
I was so excited. So
Get all the pre-production out the way.
yeah, I'm literally going like I'm going to like go to do the tech scout today, so I'm pretty pumped. And that's the big thing that I have on the horizon. So hopefully we'll be walking into the festival circuit at the end of the year, so that'd be really phenomenal and exciting. But that's the main thing I've got going on. So more to come on that soon.
Okay, so let the people know where they can find you and if they want to get in contact with
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. That's like the only social media I'm on. That's it. Look,
you. Say, don't look any other
go to
page is a
Facebook.
fake
I ain't
page.
gonna see it. I ain't gonna see it. But I'm on Instagram at Ashley Versher, Versher with the V.
Hey, look, I say you probably got people on Facebook. They're like, "Why haven't you responded?"
I shan't see it. Shan't see it. Not gonna happen.
Okay, so my last question that I love to ask all my guests.
Okay.
When it is all said and done and you are long gone from this earth, what is it that you want the world, the people to know about Ashley Versher?
Oh my gosh. That's a crazy question.
I get them every time. No.
Oh man, I don't know about the people. I don't know about the people, but I hope that I really hope that like my nieces and my nephew and my goddaughter, I hope that they are so proud of what I've done, and I hope that in some way, shape, or form, it's inspired them to live their lives, or to aim for like an extraordinary life. Um, that's my hope.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Miss Ashley Versher. Like I said, researching you, I just thought that you are a wonderful, amazing person. I hope we work together, you know what I'm saying, on a film or some one day.
Yeah.
You are super phenomenal. And I would definitely let you know, let your people know when I write this article and put it on the platform.
Thank you so much, dude. You're so wonderful. You have such incredible energy. I think this has been lovely.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate you. You have a good day and good luck on your film.
Thank you. Okay, you
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye bye.